I'm Caitlin, a former professional ballerina turned dance educator and career mentor, and this is the Brainy Ballerina podcast. I am here for the aspiring professional ballerina who wants to learn what it really takes to build a smart and sustainable career in the dance industry. I'm peeling back the curtain of the professional dance world with open and honest conversations about the realities of becoming a professional dancer. Come along to gain the knowledge and inspiration you need to succeed in a dance career on your terms. Hello and welcome to the Brainy Ballerina podcast. Caitlin here with a solo episode chatting about all things summer intensives. If you are a pre-professional dancer preparing for a career, you are likely getting ready to head off to your summer intensive in a few weeks. I remember as a young dancer how monumental the growth that I made in just one summer was. Every single time I went away, my teachers would be so amazed when I would come back at the growth that I had made in my technique, in my artistry, and all the things. Summer intensives are amazing because you get to fully immerse yourself in your dance training without other distractions. One thing that I think is really amazing about intensives is they really simulate what it's like to be in a company setting. Your schedule is a lot like that of a professional dancer. You start your day around 9 a.m. with your ballet class, continue on with other classes and rehearsals until 4, 5 in the evening. At some programs, I would come back for more rehearsals after dinner. So the sheer number of hours you're spending dancing is going to be exponential growth in your technique, your strength, your movement quality, your overall dancing. And you just get to really understand what your daily life is going to be like as a professional dancer and start to think about if that is the life for you, if you enjoy that, if you see yourself doing that every single day for your job. So today I want to give you some tips to help you get the most out of your summer intensive. We all know that they are a big time commitment, a big monetary commitment. You are spending your summer. We all know that they are a big time commitment, a big expense. You are sacrificing other things that you might want to be doing in your summer for your intensive, for this personal growth that you are looking to achieve. And so I want to give you some tips to make sure that you are getting the most out of your intensive that you possibly can. So let's talk about before you even go to your intensive, some things that you should think about to get yourself really prepped. First of all, make sure that you are not going 0 to 60 into your intensive. Sometimes there's this lag of time between when you finish your spring performance and then your intensive starts where there's not as many classes going on, and that's okay. Get in as many classes as you can while still allowing yourself time to recover from the season. It's definitely a balance, finding both. But even if you aren't able to get in as many ballet classes or dance classes as you want, really supplementing your training with strength training, other conditioning to help you build the strength you need so that you can go into your intensive feeling very strong. If you have the ability to work with a physical therapist before you go into your intensive and do a screening where they can kind of assess you for any weak areas that you might need to be aware of so that you can do some really specific training to help you be strong in those areas. That's a great idea too, because being in the studio that many hours, dancing that many hours can really expose the weak areas that you have in your body. And that's when some overuse injuries can come in, some things can happen. So if you can work with somebody to just make sure that you are getting ahead of those things before injuries happen is a great idea. So making sure that you are physically ready to go into it, but also mentally ready. Before you go into your intensive, it's really important to determine your goals. So spend some time, write them down, journal, think about what do you hope to get out of your intensive at the end of the 4, the 5, the 6 weeks. What do you hope that you have achieved? Is it a specific technical skill that you want to improve? Is it your artistry? Is it the other styles of dance you're taking? Is it making connections? What are the things that you hope to come out of your intensive with? If you can get really clear on that, it's going to help you stay focused and make sure you get the most out of your time. So write down those goals, spend time reflecting, really have a clear idea of what you want to be able to achieve. A few kind of more nitty-gritty things that you need to make sure that you do before your intensive. One, learn how to do laundry. If you haven't been to intensive before, if you don't already do your own laundry at home, now is the time to learn. You'll be shocked how quickly those dirty leotards and tights pile up. So if you don't already know how to do your own laundry, make sure that you spend some time learning before you head off on your own. Another thing that you might want to consider doing is pre-sewing your point shoes. You're going to go through many more point shoes than usual during an intensive, especially when it's hot, humid in the summer. They're just going to die really quickly. So in my experience, I was able to avoid that last minute stress of having to sew point shoes late at night by arriving with at least one pair sewed per week of my intensive. So I was there for 6 weeks. I'd have 6 pairs of shoes already sewn. I have heard some people say this is not a good idea because what if you change shoes? What if you get fitted and decide that you want to wear something else? And that's totally valid. I was very, very happy with my shoes and I did not see myself changing them. So that worked for me, but definitely something to consider. But either way, go into it with a few more pairs so than you think and alternate them as you go. Don't just have one pair of shoes you're wearing until they're completely dead. Have 1, 2, 3 pairs that you can alternate between so that you can let them dry in between and they'll last longer. Some other items that I recommend before you go off to your intensive, of course, they're going to send home a packing list with what dance wear you need, some really specific things you might need for the dorms, whether you're staying with a host family. All those different kind of things will determine what kind of items you need to bring with you. But I have a whole list of things that I recommend for dancers to bring that maybe aren't on your list that I found really helpful. Things you might need for, again, your laundry, for the shower, because usually you're sharing a shower area. So having a few things that make that process easier. Some items for recovery that I swear by, and some things I like to have in the dorm. I have these all in a blog post for you, really easy to find. I'm going to link this in the show notes for you to take a look at, but these are all things that I found to be very helpful to make the process of living in the dorms a little bit smoother and make it so that I could really, again, get the most out of my intensive without stressing about all these other things that go into living on your own. So those are some of my tips for your prep going into it. So once you're at the intensive, some things to remember to help you really thrive in this environment. Remember that it is an intense environment. They are called summer intensives for a reason. They are meant to be intense. A lot of dancing, but not just that. Again, you are thrown into a new environment outside of your comfort zone. You don't have your parents there. You don't have maybe your friends that you normally see in your dance classes. You're with brand new people. Remember that everyone else is probably feeling just as nervous as you are. It's really easy to think that we're the only ones who feel awkward, who feel nervous, who feel anxious, but most people are probably feeling exactly like you are. Go up to people and say hi. The majority of people are going to be so, so happy that you made the first step, came up to them and said hi first. So you really need to find your people, especially if you're feeling a little bit of homesickness and you're just really missing your normal environment. Finding your people is going to really help you combat that grief you feel. In the first week, at least, I would challenge you to meet one new person a day. Just go up to someone and start talking. Again, chances are they are feeling just as out of place as you are. You have something in common, your love for dance, so you can break the ice by asking where they're from, how long they've been dancing, if they've been to this intensive before, other places they've been. The dance world's so small and you probably have mutual friends, teachers in common. So just kind of start chatting and you'll be amazed by the relationships that you cultivate. And truly, I have said this so many times on this podcast, but I'll say it again. You are making connections that are going to last you your entire career while you're at your intensive. There are people that I met at intensives that I have worked with in my professional career, peers, teachers, choreographers, you name it. You will see people again. So remember that you are preparing for your professional career in more ways than one, not just by building your technique and your artistry, but also by building connections and by building your reputation. It starts this early. People will remember the way you acted. So just be really aware of that. And again, if you are having a little bit of a hard time Go back to that why, go back to your goals you set before. If you're missing home, it can be really hard to focus on the task at hand. So remembering your why will help you. Go back to what you wrote down before about your goals. Why did you choose to come to this intensive? What did you want to learn during your time here? What do you want to accomplish? Some more prompts that can help you would be, what is a moment that I have felt true joy during my time here? When I look back on my time here, I want to feel fill in the blank. Journaling is a really powerful tool to help you process emotions, and also in a more pragmatic view to help you remember things. I would definitely use my journal while I was at intensives to write down my feelings, to process through things, but also just to write down my corrections because you're getting so much information thrown at you at once. It's impossible to remember all of it. There's just a lot coming at you. So every single day, I would usually do this like at lunch and then at the end of the day, because again, it's so much even in one single day. At lunchtime, I would go through all my classes, write down the corrections that I got from each one, key things I wanted to remember. And then at the end of the day, I would do that again. What you learn is going to last you through your entire career. Another really important aspect of thriving during your summer intensive is to stay open. The more you can expose yourself to new styles of dance, new teachers, new ways to approach technique, the more well-rounded you will become. I'm sure at your home studio you have some kind of syllabus based in a certain technique. When I was training, my technique was very Vaganova based. But then at your summer intensive, you might be exposed to new techniques such as Balanchine, Ratch, Keddy. Every style approaches things a little bit differently, and you might hear a correction that is very different than what you have been trained to do. But as a dancer at this level, you have the ability to try different things without losing what you've already learned and realizing that it's not so black and white, right and wrong. Yes, the way you point your foot is the way you point your foot, right? There are certain things that are always going to be true for ballet technique, but the way you approach things such as jumps, turns, that kind of thing, it really ranges in different techniques. And you might learn something from a technique that you have never tried before, but that really works for you. Throughout my training and my career, I was able to study so many different kinds of techniques, and I was able to pull from each of them to figure out what method works best for me at different moments in my dancing. And of course, sometimes you are in a scenario where the choreographer, the director wants a very specific thing and you have to do that. But it's okay to kind of figure out what works for you and what things do you want to keep with you. And you're also immersing yourself in new styles of dance: modern, character, jazz, Pilates, yoga, partnering, conditioning, dance history, all these different kinds of things you're learning. And I remember as a young dancer just wanting to do ballet. I didn't want to do all the other classes, but now as a retired professional, I know how important those things were. So really take those other classes just as seriously as you take your ballet classes. Being exposed to all of these things is just such a gift. And even just new styles of teaching. You know how you can hear the same correction a million times, but then someone says it a little differently and suddenly it clicks? I had so many of these light bulb moments at summer intensives with new eyes on my dancing. And it can feel a little bit scary and outside of your comfort zone, but this is where the growth is. So the more you can be a sponge and soak it all in, the more you will get out of your intensive. This might be a bit out of order, but I want to make sure that I say this too. When you get to your intensive, respect your level placements. Sometimes you may be in the same level with a friend at home, and then when you get to an intensive, you are in different levels. I've seen this happen where dancers were really upset because at home, maybe they had a friend who they were always in the same level. They got double cast a lot. They were really seen as equals in that way at their home studio. And then at a summer intensive, they were in different levels. And I know that's really hard, but you have to trust the expertise of your instructors and remember they have your best interest at heart. There is a reason why they put you in that level. There is probably something that they want you to work on, improve on, and putting you there is going to help you grow more than putting you in a different place. And if you are truly in the wrong level, they will notice it and they will move you. I've seen that happen too. Sometimes in this scenario, our egos can really be our enemy. So just trust that they know what they're doing. They are professionals and they are in this position for a reason. You came to this intensive to learn from them for a reason, and really just respect that they know what they're doing, and if you are in the wrong place, they will move you. Another thing to make sure you are really being aware of is your recovery. Between classes, rehearsals, social outings, summer intensives are truly packed to the brim. You've got to make time to recover, and you have to know yourself. Know if you are the kind of person who needs more alone time. Like, personally, I am an introverted person. I really need alone time to recharge and to do my best work. But of course, I also wanted to hang out with my friends in the dorms and do all those things. So I had to find a healthy balance for myself of how much I could do that, because I do think it's important to develop those relationships and have fun and enjoy those times in the dorms. It's one of the best parts of a summer intensive, but also know what you need and don't lose sight of why you're there to improve your dancing. Whether that means getting into bed early and reading a book at the end of the day, journaling, doing your recovery. Maybe you and a few friends spend some time using your foam rollers or your massage guns the end of the day just to get yourself recovered, ready for the next day. Whatever it is that works for you, just be really aware of what you need and don't piggyback on what other people are doing if it's not working for you. And that goes for everything at the intensive. Another area you have to be really aware of is making sure you're eating enough food, because you, again, are dancing so much more than you're probably used to. You need enough fuel. And it can be really hard in a communal eating situation if you see other people, what they're eating, and you feel like you need to do what they're doing. There's this weird peer pressure that can happen. But please just listen to your own body and make sure that you are fueling yourself to do your best. And this is another area where maybe you want to go and work with a dietitian before your intensive to develop a plan to make sure that you are getting all the nutrients you need and able to stay really fueled. And also make sure you're getting plenty of water. Again, it's hot. You're dancing way more than you're used to. You likely want to look into some electrolytes to add to your water. The basics, right? Take care of your body. You need sleep. You need food. You need water. You need time alone to recover. When it comes down to it, staying healthy is simpler than we make it sometimes. If we're doing those things, you're already in a really good place. If you are a dancer at the stage of your career where you are really looking for a job offer, this can definitely happen through a summer intensive. I've seen it happen many times. I don't necessarily want dancers to go into a summer intensive with only the goal of getting a job offer, because that is a goal out of your control. So if your only goal going into an intensive is to get the job and you don't get it, you'll be really disappointed and you spend a lot of time and money to attend that. So going in with goals that you can control, things that you want to improve, things that you want to do, is definitely a better way to set your goals. However, it can also be a great way to make connections and to potentially have a job offer at the end. Think of your summer intensive as an extended audition where you can show a company that you're not only a beautiful dancer, but someone that people want to work with. Some qualities that make you really stand out. First of all, is willing and able to take corrections. Companies want to see somebody that can improve and is willing and able to grow. You might be someone like myself who didn't feel like I really shone in an audition setting. I felt like the nerves got the best of me. I didn't necessarily have the legs, the turns, all those kind of things, but I was a solid dancer. And then when I got in a setting where companies were able to work with me, they would realize they really wanted me on their team because I was able to take corrections, I was able to grow, I was able to improve very quickly. So showing that you can do that is huge. Being supportive of other dancers, even in a large company, the day-to-day work is really intimate, and one person's bad energy can ruin the vibe for everyone. Be supportive of other dancers. Be reliable, be on time and prepared. These are like the bare minimum, honestly. Come into your intensive each day, on time, prepared, ready to work. Be self-aware, be detail-oriented, have that growth mindset, and always be ready to go in. As an understudy in any situation, you may be thrown in. And if you can do the work, then you're going to be seen as a really valuable asset to the company. I just saw this happen to one of my mentees a few weeks ago, where she was in a program that she didn't feel was really considering her for a contract. And then she got thrown at the last minute to do a company corps de ballet part. And it was like all of a sudden they really saw her and realized how amazing she was. and it led to a contract. So you just never know when your chance is going to happen, and she was ready for it, and then it happened. So there's that quote, the harder I work, the luckier I get. Be prepared, be ready, work hard so that when your time comes, you're not really getting lucky. You were prepared for it. But it seems like luck maybe to the outside world, but that luck took a lot of preparation. Just never underestimate the importance of your attitude when it comes to hiring decisions. Opportunities open up to those who bring more to the table beyond your technique. And don't be afraid to speak up and let them know that you are interested in a contract. Find a time to speak to the director, whoever might be in charge of your program, and just voice that you are very interested in dancing for the company and that you'd like to be considered. After your intensive, it's a long period of time. It is a lot of work. You're exhausted. Please take some time to reflect on the experience. Again, get out your journal and reflect on what you learned technically, what you learned artistically, what you want to carry forward with you into the new school year, what you hope to remember, what surprised you about yourself, what did you learn about yourself? And also, what did you think about this intensive? Do you think that you could see yourself coming back to this intensive, dancing for this company? What did it teach you about the professional world that you want to carry with you moving forward? Of course, give yourself time to rest and recover afterward. Give yourself some time to spend with your family and all the friends at home that you've missed. I feel like I came out of all my summer intensives just so excited to dance and so reinvigorated. My passion for dance just always felt so bright in those moments. So find a way to harness that feeling and remember that even when you're starting to get back into the swing of things and trying to balance school and dancing and all the things you have to do again. Come back to that feeling you had coming out of your intensive. Remember that you are more ready than you think. You were accepted into this intensive for a reason because they see potential in you. They are not expecting you to be at a professional level. You are a student, and they are expecting you to be open, ready to learn, ready to be a sponge, and ready to work hard. This was a lot of information to pack into one episode, so I have a number of blog posts that I'm going to link in the show notes for you. Summer intensive packing list, a blog post that will help you if you are dealing with homesickness during your intensive. I'm going to link a blog post also about everything you might need to know before your first partnering class, because for a lot of dancers, summer intensives are their first partnering experience. So all of this will be in the show notes for you to take a peek at. If you're going to a summer intensive this year, I hope you found this helpful. Send me a message and let me know if there's anything that really stood out to you, anything you want me to talk about more on a future episode. Share with a friend who's going to a summer intensive. Let's really support each other in this crazy dance world. And just know that you are truly ready for this moment and you are going to have an amazing summer. Thank you for tuning in to the Brainy Ballerina podcast. If you found this episode insightful, entertaining, or maybe a bit of both, I would so appreciate you taking a moment to leave a rating and hit subscribe. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode, and you'll join our community of dancers passionate about building a smart and sustainable career in the dance industry. Plus, your ratings help others discover the show too. I'll be back with a new episode next week. In the meantime, be sure to follow along on Instagram at The Brainy Ballerina for your daily dose of dance career guidance.